My parents left me a 10-second voicemail kicking me out of the family business, so I quietly took everything they needed. Hi, I'm Ryan Mitchell. I'm 30 years old, and I make a living predicting worst-case scenarios for a fintech firm in Denver. But nothing, and I mean nothing, in my risk reports ever prepared me for the 10-second voicemail that burned my entire family bridge to the ground. It came in on a Tuesday afternoon, right between a flagged crypto scam and a stale cup of office coffee. I tapped play, not even looking, expecting another routine client check-in. Instead, I heard my mom's voice, flat, cold, and professional, like she was unsubscribing from a newsletter. "You're out, Ryan. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." That was it. No explanation. No emotion. Just the kind of tone you use when canceling an auto payment, not evicting your son from the family legacy. I stared at the wall for maybe a full minute. My heart pounded in my ears, but the rest of me stayed absolutely still. Then the same part of my brain that helps me secure seven-figure investments kicked in. I didn't call back. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I typed one word into the family group chat. Okay. Then I moved first. I logged into the family LLC, the one I built from scratch to help manage our rental properties and new triplex project, and I locked down every single permission with my name on it. No more deals signed with my credit. No more accounts floating under my tax ID. Next, I froze the retirement accounts I had structured for them so nothing could be moved or drained behind my back. Finally, I pulled out of the triplex deal they were counting on me to close. By the time my coffee was done, so was every shortcut they thought they had through me. I figured that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The next morning, my phone lit up with 46 missed calls and a voicemail from their lawyer saying, "We have a serious problem." I actually laughed out loud. Because the problem wasn't me being gone. The problem was what I'd taken with me. I woke up to my phone buzzing itself off the nightstand. At first, I thought it was my alarm. Then I saw the screen, Mom, Dad, unknown number, law office, all stacking up like a bad bingo card. I plugged in my earbuds and hit play on the latest voicemail. "Ryan, this is Evan Coleman, counsel for Mark and Diane Mitchell. We need to talk. This is serious. Please call me back as soon as possible." The way he said, "serious," made me smile a little. That's lawyer speak for. Your parents screwed something up and didn't tell me. I didn't call back. I just stood there, listening to the coffee drip into the pot while the texts came in one after the other. "Mom, this is just a misunderstanding. Please call us." "Dad, kiddo, we can fix this. Whatever happened, just call." "Mom again. We didn't mean it like that. We were emotional. Please come home." Funny. Because yesterday, there was zero confusion in her voice. "You're out. Don't come back." That had sounded plenty clear. I scrolled through the avalanche of messages and noticed one name missing, Brooke. My younger sister, who could break a fingernail and feel the need to alert the entire family group chat with a selfie and a dramatized medical update, was dead silent. Suspiciously silent. I opened the building security app on my phone, just muscle memory at that point, and pulled up the morning feed. Sure enough, my dad had come by the front of my apartment building. He stood outside the glass door, hands shoved deep in his pockets, looking up at my floor. He hovered like he was going to buzz, then turned and walked away. No knock. No call. Just retreat. And somehow that hurt more than the voicemail. For a second. Then I pushed the feeling down where it belonged. You don't run to comfort people who didn't hesitate to cut you off. At work, I ignored the buzzing phone in my bag and threw myself into spreadsheets until Jenna, my coworker, rolled her chair over. "You've been staring at that screen like you're waiting for it to confess," she said. I almost lied. Out of habit. But something about Jenna made it easy to be honest. "My parents decided I'm out of the family business." She blinked. "Do they know you are the family business?" I gave a half shrug. They left a voicemail. I locked everything down. Now their lawyer's involved. Jenna whistled low. "I'm not telling you what to do, but if you make decisions out of guilt, they'll spin it as an admission of fault. Document everything. You're not just fighting emotion anymore, you're fighting a narrative." I nodded. That part one understood better than most. I'd built a career making sure people couldn't move money around behind closed doors. Turns out I'd built the perfect system to protect me. I walked to the break room, filled my mug, and checked my phone again. New message. Unknown number. "Heard you pulled out of the triplex deal. You okay? Sounds like you're overwhelmed. I stared at the screen. Overwhelmed. That wasn't my word. That was Brooke's word. And just like that, the story started to unravel, and a sharper edge of anger slid right into place. Overwhelmed. It kept echoing in my head as I sat in my car, staring out the windshield at absolutely nothing. That word was like a breadcrumb in the middle of a polished floor, so deliberate it was almost insulting. Overwhelmed. It's how Brooke used to describe anyone who disagreed with her. That teacher who didn't give her a late extension? Overwhelmed. The barista who messed up her half-almond, half-coconut milk order? Overwhelmed. Me, apparently, pulling out of a deal I had engineered from the ground up? Overwhelmed. It was so on brand it made me want to laugh. Or yell. Or both. I tapped Daniel Hayes' name in my contacts, the original advisor who helped me build the LLC before my parents, with Brooke whispering in their ears, swapped him out for someone trendier with motivational quotes in their email signature. He picked up fast. Ryan Mitchell, he said with the casual warmth of someone who always liked you more than your family did. Still keeping everyone solvent? Trying, I said. Quick question. Has anyone tried to change ownership percentages in Mitchell Holdings lately? There was a pause. I could practically hear him sit up in his chair. Your mom reached out asking about adding another family member as a managing member. Brooke's name floated through a few drafts. Your name was still on the signature lines, but blank. Did anything go through? I asked. No, he said. The paperwork was sloppy, frankly. And I told them it wasn't moving without your signature. I exhaled slowly. Thanks, Daniel. That helps. Really. After I hung up, I just sat there, feeling the last few puzzle pieces lock into place. Brooke loses her marketing job. Suddenly she's talking about streamlining the LLC at Sunday dinners like she knows what a balance sheet is. Then the voicemail from my parents. Then the narrative. Ryan's mentally overwhelmed, Ryan's unstable, Ryan's pulling out of deals last minute. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a campaign. And Brooke? She was the one holding the damn megaphone. That night I got her text. What do you think you're doing, Ryan? Pulling out of the house deal, locking down accounts? You're making this worse. Grow up. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my email. First to the real estate agent. Please consider this formal withdrawal from the Mitchell Triplex purchase. I will not be a borrower, co-signer, or party to any transaction moving forward. Any suggestion otherwise is unauthorized and inaccurate. Then a separate email to Brooke. No yelling. No swearing. Just straight from my risk report voice. Any attempt to alter ownership, authority, or financial structure of Mitchell Holdings or associated accounts without my written consent may constitute fraud. Do not sign my name. Do not imply my approval. All actions will be documented. Then I turned my phone face down on the desk and opened a new folder on my laptop. Family risk file. Screenshots. Voicemails. Advisor notes. Texts. Call logs. Every lie, every whisper, every fake concern. All of it lined up in rows and columns. If Brooke wanted a fight built on emotion and performance, she picked the wrong brother. I wasn't bringing feelings to this. I was bringing receipts. 3 days later, I walked into my usual Saturday coffee shop pretending my life hadn't turned into a legal chess match. I just wanted one thing, my cinnamon oat latte in 15 minutes where nobody expected me to untangle a family web of passive-aggressive fraud. I had just picked up my order when I heard my name. Ryan! Hey! I turned and saw Tom Reynolds, one of my dad's old garage buddies, grinning like we were about to swap car trivia. He clapped my shoulder and leaned in like he had a hot stock tip. Tough about the triplex, he said, lowering his voice like he was saying cancer instead of real estate. I blinked. Tough how? Tom winced. Just what your mom and Brooke were saying in the group chat. That you're overwhelmed. That it was too much pressure for you lately. There it was again. Overwhelmed. The word had now gone fully viral in my extended family. They said I was what? I asked, forcing a tight smile. You know, Tom said awkwardly. Mental health stuff. Nothing to be ashamed of. Brooke said you'd been thinking of stepping back from the business for a while. Sounds like it was the right call. I nodded, just once, and excused myself before I said something that would have earned me a restraining order from the espresso machine. In the car, I pulled out my phone and tapped through to my contact list. Daniel Hayes had already warned me. But now I needed to know how far the story had spread. I called Jason Liu, the new financial advisor my parents had brought in. I'd never spoken to him directly, but his name was on every new draft I'd been quietly locked out of. He answered on the third ring. "This is Jason. Jason, it's Ryan Mitchell. You're managing my parents' accounts now?" Long pause. "Yes. I've been working with Mark and Diane. Is everything all right?" "Not exactly," I said. "Have there been attempts to alter the Mitchell retirement structure?" Another pause. "I've seen drafts," he admitted. "Brooks' name was added as a co-trustee in some. They implied you'd step back, that this was all mutual. Your signature lines were blank, so I flagged it. To be clear," I said, "I've signed nothing. I've authorized nothing. Treat any request that isn't signed by me in person as unauthorized." Jason cleared his throat. "Understood. Honestly, I thought something was off." After we hung up, my cousin Megan called. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Because Brooks' been saying you're spiraling. That you threatened to cut off Mom and Dad and that you're hoarding control of the LLC." I didn't even blink. "You believe her?" Megan hesitated. "Not really. Doesn't match the Ryan who fixed their roof without telling anyone." I smiled. "Screenshot what you want. Ignore the rest." When we hung up, I opened my inbox, and there it was. Subject: Mitchell Triplex Purchase Update. It was a thread. From our real estate agent, Susan. On copy? My parents, their lawyer, and Brooke. I scrolled down to Brooke's message. "Susan, as we discussed, Ryan has pulled out due to personal mental health struggles. We need to move forward without him. Please respect his limitations." It was written like a press release. Susan's reply, bless her, was perfect. "Thank you, Brooke. For liability, I'll need written confirmation from Ryan and will pause the file for now." I didn't even let my rage cool this time. I hit reply. Attached my formal withdrawal from 2 days earlier. "This is not due to mental health struggles. I'm withdrawing because I no longer consent to my name, credit, or income being used under current family circumstances. Any description otherwise is inaccurate." Evan, their lawyer, replied with one line. "Received. We should talk about next steps." That night, I came home to find an envelope taped to my apartment door. Inside, my mom's handwriting. "We love you. We were emotional. Please call us so we can fix this before it goes too far." Too far? We were already off the map. And Brooke? She just posted on Facebook. Sometimes the most dangerous person in a family is the one who controls all the money and punishes you when you don't obey. 100 likes. Comments like, "Stay strong, sis," and "Proud of you for speaking truth." That's when I knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a campaign. And it was time to end it. The next morning, just as I sat down at my desk, my phone buzzed with a text from my mom. "Just 5 minutes. No arguing. Please." 5 minutes wasn't going to fix being disowned by voicemail, but it sounded more like her than anything I'd gotten in weeks. I typed, "Call me." She answered immediately. "Your dad's here too," she said quickly. "We're on speaker." "Hey, kiddo," came my dad's voice, softer than usual. I didn't waste time. "You wanted 5 minutes. Go." Mom inhaled like she was bracing herself. "We messed up, Ryan. Saying you're out, don't come back, that was extreme. You didn't say it in a moment of heat. You said it in a voicemail. You rehearsed it." Silence. Then she tried again. "Your sister told us things. She said you were planning to cut us out of the LLC. That you were talking to lawyers. That you said you were tired of carrying everyone. She said I told her this. Where? After dinner. In the car. She said you were upset. There was no car ride. I said. I took my own car that night. Drove home alone." Another long pause. My dad muttered a soft curse. Mom's voice shrank. "Why would she make that up?" "Because if I'm unstable and power-hungry, then her getting access to the LLC looks like protection, not manipulation." I could hear the math happening in real time. Dad finally said, "This isn't just a family argument anymore. Evan called us. Jason called you. The house deal is paused. This is big." "I know," I said. "Which is why I'm done with whispered stories and forwarded texts. We're going to sit down. All of us. Face to face." Mom hesitated. "Do we have to involve lawyers?" "They're already involved. The question is whether they hear your story first, or the one with timestamps. When? Tomorrow. 6 o'clock. At the house. If Brooke won't come? That's an answer too. The next evening, I showed up on time with a manila folder in my hand and zero patience in my pockets. Same front door. Same couch. Same framed pictures of childhood vacations. Completely different energy. My parents sat on the couch. Brooke was curled in the armchair across from them, tissue in hand, like she was auditioning for a commercial about resilience. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Thanks for coming, Dad said, standing awkwardly. I set the folder on the coffee table, next to my phone. Just so we're clear, I said calm as steel. Nothing about this is off the record. If anyone lies, I won't keep it quiet. Brooke scoffed. Wow, dramatic much? This is family. Then the truth shouldn't scare anyone. My mom wrung her hands. Brooke, honey, why don't you tell Ryan what you told us? No, I said. Brooke can speak for herself. Go ahead. She rolled her eyes like I was the problem. You said it, she snapped. You were sick of doing everything. You were going to remove them from the LLC. You said you wanted full control? In the car? Yeah. After dinner. You probably don't even remember. I opened the folder, slid a printed page across the table. That night at Harbor Grill. Timestamped receipts. You took a ride-share home at 10:15. I got gas across town at 10:13. We didn't leave together. There was no car conversation. Brooke's face froze for half a second. Maybe it was another night. Nope, I said, flipping to another receipt. Only other dinner was 2 months before. You left early to meet friends. I stayed to pay. Mom stared down at the paper, then up at Brooke. You told us you saw the emails. You said Ryan said it to your face. Brooke sat up straighter, flipping to her backup script. So now you just believe him because he printed out some receipts? He's always needed control. He lives for control. Dad, finally done playing nice, said calmly. The truth doesn't fall apart next to a gas receipt. Yours just did. The look on Brooke's face? That was the moment she realized the story was no longer hers to shape. Brooke's eyes flicked to each of us, searching for backup, but this time, no one jumped in to save her. Not even Mom. The silence in the room got so thick, you could have sealed windows with it. You always do this, Brooke said finally, her voice brittle. Twist everything so you look like the reasonable one and I look crazy. No, I said calmly. You did that when you fabricated an entire conversation and used it to try and push through financial documents under my name. I laid out the next set of papers. My email to the real estate agent. Her reply, confirming she'd ignore anything not from me. Then Jason's notes, flagging the draft documents with my name and signed. Then Megan's screenshots. Then Brooke's inspirational Facebook post, hashtagged with healing and boundaries, the one where I was clearly the villain. Page by page, I built a paper wall around the truth and waited to see who still wanted to live on her side of it. Mom looked devastated. You told us Ryan said all these things, she whispered to Brooke. You said you heard them with your own ears. I was trying to help, Brooke snapped. I thought he needed a break. I thought it would be easier if we just made some changes. I looked at her flatly. If I ever need a break, I'll ask for one. What you did wasn't help. It was an ambush. A calculated one. Dad rubbed a hand over his jaw. And we walked right into it. Brooke pointed a finger at me like she was still clinging to the last step of her soapbox. So what now? You want me banished? You want them to disown me instead? No, I said. I want boundaries. I want protection. I want what I built to stop being treated like family Wi-Fi, something everyone feels entitled to use just because we share a last name. Brooke scoffed. So that's it? You're cutting me off? I looked at our parents. You wanted me out of the family business? Fine. I'm stepping back as the default safety net. But that means no more backdoor access to my accounts, my name, or my credit. Brooke should have zero access to anything I've created. Starting today. Mom flinched. Brooke doesn't have access. Not officially, I said. But she's been in meetings. She's been speaking on your behalf. She's had a seat at a table she didn't earn. Dad nodded slowly. That ends now. Brooke stared at him like he'd slapped her. Seriously? After everything I've done? Like what? I asked, my tone sharper than before. Your TED Talk about being raised in emotional poverty? Or your business pitch that was just Etsy products with SEO buzzwords? Mom exhaled. Mark, maybe we make it official. No additional beneficiaries. No shared access. We've been saying we'd help Brooke for years. But it always comes from what you've built. Maybe it's time that stops. I looked at her. Shocked, honestly. She turned to me, eyes red but steady. We want you to rewrite everything. The LLC, the retirement plans. Not based on what we promised Brooke during one of her meltdowns. Based on what actually makes sense. Based on what you think is fair. I stared at her, unsure whether to feel honored or insulted. You're asking me to take back control, I said, after you told me to get out. She nodded. I'm asking you to do what you've been doing this whole time. Just, this time, we admit you were right. Brooke laughed bitterly. Unbelievable. You're rewarding him for being controlling. Dad met her eyes. No, we're recognizing the difference between control and accountability. And Ryan's the only one who's had it. Brooke looked shaken for the first time. Like she finally saw the edge of the cliff she'd walked herself to. And this time? No one was offering a hand. Brooke's mask cracked right there in the living room. Her voice dropped into that breathy, desperate tone I'd heard 1,000 times, when she wanted something she couldn't spin or charm her way into. Okay, she said, blinking fast. Then let me earn it. Give me a role in the LLC. Just something small. Social media. I can help. I want to prove I can contribute instead of always being treated like the screw-up. It was a decent pitch. Maybe even convincing, to someone who hadn't spent the last 6 months untangling the damage she'd done. I didn't move. I didn't smile. I didn't soften. No, I said. If you want to prove you can build something, start from zero. Like I did. Mom winced. Ryan, isn't that a little harsh? Harsh was being cut out by voicemail. I said. This is just a boundary. Brooke stood, eyes glassy. You're going to regret this. She hissed. You think you can cut me off and walk away clean? I picked up my folder, slid my phone into my pocket, and looked her dead in the eye. No, I said. I think I can stop you from turning my work into your safety net. What happens after that? That's on you. My dad walked me to the door like he used to when I was a teenager sneaking out past curfew. Except this time, he looked older. Tired in a way that felt earned. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For the voicemail. For not asking you first. For letting it get this far. I believed what was easiest. I nodded. But believing the easy story doesn't mean the consequences are easy too. Over the next week, we made it official. Jason sent over new drafts. Evan walked us through them. Only Dad and I were managing members now. Mom listed as beneficiary. Brooke? Not even a line where her name could be penciled in. Not revenge. Just structure. A system that couldn't be rewritten by a sob story. A few days later, Brooke showed up at my office unannounced, binder in hand, eyes red like she'd practiced crying in the car. The receptionist buzzed me. She says it's urgent. I met her in the lobby. She held out the binder like it was a peace offering. It's a business plan, she said quickly. Events, brand partnerships, influencer stuff. If you invest a little, I can pay you back. I can prove everyone wrong. I didn't touch the binder. Start it without me, I said. If it works, you won't need my money. If it doesn't, then you'll understand why I said no. Her face twisted, rage and panic fighting for dominance. You're really not going to help me? After everything? I thought about the gas receipts, the lawyer voicemails, the Facebook posts framing me as the villain. No, I said. I'm done helping people set themselves on fire with my gasoline. Then I turned and walked back through the security doors, leaving her, and her binder of almosts, out Sid. 1 month later, I stood in the driveway of the triplex we nearly lost, box of dishes in hand, watching my parents argue about where to put a bird feeder. Their new unit was on the ground floor, secured for life and writing. Mine was above, sunlight pouring through big windows. The third unit? Already rented. Mitchell Holdings was leaner, cleaner, just me and my dad managing, with no room for manipulation. We didn't rehash everything. But we did stop pretending money was a mystery. Brooke's name still came up, but not like before. There were no fights. No guilt. Just boundaries. Solid ones. Because sometimes, the strongest form of love is knowing when not to open the door again.